This is Willie Crawford, and I'd like to welcome you to session 5 of our Rank and Rent website workshop. As you can see, tonight we're going to be looking at the topics of making a list of ideal clients and then contacting them. So I've confirmed actually that you can see and hear me. So why don't we get right into it? See, first some admin notes. A lot of you have reached out to me and told me you're still having trouble deciding on what niche or niches to decide. Really, there is no wrong niche as long as people are spending money, as long as advertisers or businesses are spending money to continue growing their business. Almost any niche is a good niche, but you need to pick one or two, and the reason you didn't need to do that is you need to become a bit of an expert in those niches so that when you're reaching out to business owners, you speak their language, you understand their problems, and the problems in each niche are unique. So I want you to dive deep into one or two very specific niches and really get to know those. And later on, if you want to expand, that's fine too. But I recommend you picking something, whether it's dentistry or tree trimming or automotive repair or whatever. Just pick something and dive deep in that. And if you are having trouble deciding what niche you want to get into, it's critical that you go ahead and do that now. So reach out to me. I'll post a link to my calendar, both inside the private Facebook group and inside the membership area. Click on that link and schedule a 30-minute consult with me. I do want you to get that out of the way as soon as practical, because you can't really make any progress until you decide what niche you're going to dive into, okay? And a lot of people are still asking me about templates, and I understand, templates make everything easier. The thing about templates is no matter what template you use, you're going to have to do some modification to it. No template right out of the box is going to be perfect for every purpose. Even after you decide whether or not you want to focus on directory style sites or a more traditional styled site that you rent to businesses, regardless, you're going to have to do some minor modifications. And so what I will do is I'll show you templates that I use and that I recommend. And if you are still struggling with that, reach out to me again. I'll begin by recommending a template by my friend Dan Nickerson. Dan is partnered with Michael Neal and Gene Pimentel on a different platform that I was a beta tester on. That platform is called Meta Domainer. And Dan understands ranking and renting websites and understands very deeply buying and selling domains too. Dan is one of the people that sold a single domain for over $700,000. So he gets buying and selling and ranking and renting and building websites, and he is a programmer who gets templates and who gets a lot of techie things. And so Dan has a WordPress theme called Socrates, and I believe there's like 200,000 users of that theme right now, and Dan constantly updates it, and he supports all of his software. And it's like there's a lot of themes out there you can get that the developer creates it, pushes it out to the world, and doesn't keep it updated. And the problem with that is when something changes on the server or whatever, a different version of PHP or something along that line, then that theme may no longer work because it's no longer compatible with something else on a web server. Dan stays on top of that. That's one of the reasons I like his Socrates theme. And so I'm going to invite you to go over and take a look at it. And then if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Email is probably the simplest way. My email is willie@williecrawford.org. That's willie@williecrawford.org. So it's not .com, it's .org. And you can do that. You can reach out to me via my help desk. There's a link to the help desk inside the members area. And actually, there should be one on practically all of my websites, because I push all of my support tickets through one central help desk where there's different people assigned to work on tickets based on where the tickets are coming from and what they're assigned to work. So You can reach out to me via email, via my help desk, or even via a direct message, a private message on Facebook Messenger. So I'm very reachable, okay? I do want you to go ahead and pick templates to start working with. Again, Socrates, Dan's Socrates template, which you can find at williecrawford.org/Socrates, and the S in Socrates needs to be uppercase. Trying to get my PowerPoint to cooperate with me. For some reason it's not. I'm just going to highlight that and paste it into the chat window. I'll stop doing battle with my PowerPoint. No, williecrawford.org/Socrates. And let's see. I also use for the directory style sites, the very first one I did, I used a theme called the Point theme. That's P-O-I-N-T. And the slide here and has the URL, and I'll also paste it into the chat window, and I'll also include it in the transcript, and I'm giving you guys the slides, the actual PowerPoint slides, so you can just click on the link and go and check it out anyway. There are two versions of Point, the Point theme, and one is free, and that's the one I use to build most of my earlier directory style sites. There's also a pro version which has a few more features. I now actually use a modified version of Dan's Socrates theme to build a lot of my directory style sites. His theme is so versatile that I use that. But go ahead and check out Point too. Again, there's a free version and there's a pro version. And you know, if you have any questions, just as with the Socrates theme or any theme, there's going to be minor edits you need to make to a theme to make it fit exactly your purposes. But we can make any of these work, and in fact I'll probably have my programmer in the next week or so create a template that basically, see, for the directory style sites will have a space for a video up top, and then have a field where you just paste your listings basically, and you would change just a few things in the theme and you should be good to go. I don't know how long it would take my programmer to do something like that. I mean, see, a lot of things, if they're WordPress things, they're working in an open architecture, which means WordPress itself is not trademarked or copyrighted, and anyone can develop something that fits into the hook. But when someone rolls out a theme, they can copyright their theme, and they may or may not give you permission to modify their theme. If they didn't give you permission to modify their theme, it's not private label rights, then you can't change it. So that's the thing I'm struggling with as I look at just handing you some themes that you can make a couple minor edits on and run with them. That's not always practical. Let's see. I also at times use themes built into the Meta Domainer platform. And the Meta Domainer platform is a platform created by Dan Nickerson, Mike Neal, and Gene Pimentel. They created that platform to allow them to list all of their for sale websites in one place using one WordPress install, and they control, you can quite literally control hundreds of websites from one location. So it's a very powerful application, but it's more suited for people who are buying and selling websites, in my opinion, than for people who are doing rank and rent style websites. But I do encourage you to check it out, and the URL's on the slide, but it's willielovesmetadomainer.com, willielovesmetadomainer.com, and just take a look at it and see if you have any questions. It may suit your needs. I use it a lot for listing domain names that I buy with the intention of selling them. Basically what I can do there is just set up any domain on their platform. I pay a monthly fee to use their platform, but then I can set up an unlimited number of domains on their platform and not have to get hosting for the individual domains unless I want to. And I can set those domains up where they're like parked. I can pull in Amazon feeds and make my own stores. I can just create a website that says this site's for sale and plug in a bunch of variables, and I can make the site look almost any way I want it to look. But the platform was initially designed, developed for people who have a bunch of websites they want to sell, And so take a look at MetaDomain or two and let me know if you have any questions about that. I was a beta tester for it back in around October of 2019. Dan posted on Facebook that he was looking for a few people to test out a platform he was working on. I raised my hands. He gave me access to it, and I spent about 2 months, I guess, testing the platform before it was released to the general public. So I know the platform inside out. Uh, at the same time, Dan's a very, very techie guy who talks over my head sometimes. So I don't claim to be the expert on the platform per se, but I know how to get the most out of it as a domainer, someone who buys and sells domains practically every day, and someone who ranks and rents domains, but doesn't use MetaDomainer primarily for my rank and rent business. And I think that's all the admin notes I had. Oh, there's one more. Yeah, I plan on doing a 7th session. This was originally planned for 6 sessions, and it was focused primarily on rank and rent websites. I'm getting so many questions about buying and selling websites because a lot of you are buying domain names and figuring out that maybe they aren't ideal for ranking and then renting to businesses. So you're thinking, well, I'll just sell them. And I'm getting a lot of questions about that. So I want to do a session exclusively on that topic. And since the last of the 6-week sessions is on June 11th, a week later on Thursday, June 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern, I'll do a 7th session exclusively talking about ranking and renting websites, and we'll go pretty in-depth into that. You don't need to do anything extra to register for that session. You should get an email sometime before the session, early Thursday morning probably, actually Wednesday night, the night of the 17th, and then again on Thursday, reminding you of the session and giving you your exclusive login link for it. If you can't make it for some reason, don't worry. Like all the sessions, it will be recorded, and the recordings and the video, audio, transcript, and the slides will be inside the membership area for you. And so again, I'm going to do that extra session and answer any questions you may have about buying and selling domain names. I have bought and sold, well over 1,000 domain names, most of them on the lower end of the market. Up until this point, the most expensive one I've sold been for $5,000. You know, unlike Dan, who's done one for $700,000, and Gene, who's done one where he bought it and a month later, bought it for like $10 a month later, sold it for $24,000. I haven't done any of that yet because I buy the less expensive domain names, and if I'm buying it to sell, I quick turn it. So I usually won't ask much more than somewhere between $100 and $500 for most of the domain names I'm selling. Let's look at spying on your competitors and coming up with keywords, because that's what it's really all about when you're looking at ranking a website. You're looking at what do I want my website to rank for, and what you really want it to rank for is what the buyers, the people looking for what your renters sell, you want to rank for those terms or those phrases. And so you need to, really ask yourself, what are the final customer, the ideal customer typing into the search engines? And for that, I want you to get in the habit of spying on your competitors. I want you to look at what keywords they are using to rank near the top of the search engines. And it isn't always, the niche plus the city name. They have what they call latent semantic indexing, which is related words around that keyword that are important too, and that often will pull a site up in the search engines, because Google doesn't just look at that one keyword phrase. It looks at, are there other related terms? And so there's an article I'm referencing in the slide, and the article is called 7 Free SEO Tools to Spy on Competitor Websites. And I give the link for that you can check out after tonight's presentation. So you probably do want to download the slides, because the slides will give you live links to all the things I'm referencing now. And Jill says she uses Point and love it. That's good. It's very good to hear. Kathy's asking how much of what you do you sell domains? On average, how much do your extra domains sell for, and what do you list domains you want to sell? Right now, probably 20% of the domains that I buy, I hope to sell eventually. And I list my domains. I think I listed that someplace else, but I list them at Name Silo, which is my registrar. I list them at Afternic. I list them at MetaDomainer, and not many other places. Most of the domains I sell via emails and social media posts, and just letting people know that that I have domains for sale. And sometimes it's really easy. I'll just make a joke about one of my domain names on social media, and all of a sudden people are looking for it, and people are sending me private messages offering to buy it. So I don't really focus that much on the domain marketplaces, but I know that you guys need to. And so Afternic is huge, and MetaDomainer and Name Silo I use a lot too. And there are a couple out there. I invite the other people on the call to actually share what your favorite marketplaces are. The thing is, you can list in as many marketplaces as you want, and there's probably 50 or so that people can come up with. And one of the things I have a problem with is, after you sell a domain name, you should, in good conscience, go back and remove that listing from the marketplaces you've listed, because it's no longer available. If you sold it through a specific marketplace using their tools, it's going to automatically be delisted of that one marketplace, but it's still in potentially dozens of other marketplaces. So I'm not a big fan of listing in as many places as you can. I'm big on listing in just a few that are the best. And again, for me, Afternic seems to be huge. Some people like GoDaddy's marketplace. I don't care for GoDaddy in general. Just some of the practices that they have engaged in over the years, and some of those they've probably changed now. They're under new management, and things change over the years. It's just that some of us are creatures of habit, and when we find something we like, we stick with it. And so that's that. Dave asked, how have your domain sales offers been going? Have you been getting many offers? I've had days that I have had one day I sold over 40 domain names, but on that day I dropped my pricing a little, or a lot actually. Most of the time I invite people to go to my site, go to my webpage at rankandrent.com/1, and that's where I list all the domain names that I'm really trying to get rid of now.
to sell right now. And I update that page as often as I can. So people buy domains, I go and I delete them from that page, and I also delete them from the database at Name Silo, so that when somebody reaches out to me and asks, can I buy a domain name, first place I look is at Name Silo to see if it's available. Have I already pushed it or transferred it to someone? If not, then I unlock the domain at Name Silo, so as soon as the transaction is paid for, I can push the domain name over to the purchaser, and I go to my web page where I list the for sale domain names, the one at rankrentretire.com, and I delete it from the list of available domain names. And I do that because I don't want others bidding on those and just creating extra message traffic for all of us. And so that's the way I operate that. I've sold domain names for thousands of dollars, but most of the ones that I buy, quite frankly, I buy them through Name Silo as my registrar, and I pay $8.99 each for them. So if I make 4 or 5, 10 times my investment, and I quick turn them the same day, if I buy a domain name for $8 and I sell it for $100, I've got enough to buy 11 additional domain names. And if I sold those at $100, I've turned that $8 or $9 into $1,100. So for me, I don't buy the higher end domain names that you could easily get thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, those domain names are available. I know where they are. It's just I like to quick turn domain names. And see, Dave's asking, says there are some domain names on my list that are coming up for renewal. If they don't sell, do you usually renew them or let them expire? I usually renew them, and I get a notice from my registrar before they are up for renewal. But yeah, I don't. If I don't let them expire, I'll drop the price, or even I've been trained. You could even take a bunch of your domain names that aren't moving and bundle them and offer them to somebody as a bundle of 5 or 10 domain names. Somebody who's a domainer who buys and sells domain names, and maybe is more skilled than you are at moving domain names. And so, in that case, you just say, okay, I'm going to pay the renewal fee in a week or a month, and so why don't I just sell them to someone, not pay the renewal fee, but recoup part of my cost or all my costs, and use that money to buy additional domain names. So you don't really lose and I look at domain names and go, I spent $9 for them, so what's my risk? It's not very high. And I know how to choose domain names that the market wants too. See, William says he uses GoDaddy too. And let me go back to my slides. That site that I referenced you to earlier, reading from it says, monitoring the competition is something that every entrepreneur must accomplish frequently. Free SEO tools give you the opportunity and a blueprint to one-up your competition. You do not want to simply follow what they're doing. You want to know how the market is reacting, what the latest trends are, and position and plan to always be one step ahead of everyone. This monitoring aims to find new possibilities and set goals based on someone you need to win, beat out basically, or stay ahead of. And it says, nowadays, in a world where research is so important and detailed, and with the internet growing so much, you have a million different factors to consider when spying on your competitors. That is when these tools come into play. And that article lists 7 tools that's recommended. One of those is the Google Keywords tool, which I use regularly, almost every day. Another one is Google Alerts. I've mentioned that one to you before. It's free. You go to alert.google.com or google.com/alerts, and you give it phrases like your name, your competitor's name, your competitor's brand name, and anytime that Google sees a mention of that phrase you gave it anywhere on the internet, Google notifies you, I found a new occurrence of this phrase that you want me to monitor for you. And you tell Google how frequently to update you, whether you want it once a day or once an hour, or as soon as they discover something new, somebody's talking about you. I'm not that paranoid, but you should monitor what's being said about your brand, but also your competitor's brand. And that'll tell you new places where your competitors discover to promote themselves, perhaps. So it's very powerful. Now, including those 7 tools, there's a tool called SEMrush. SEMrush is incredibly powerful. You just type into their search box a URL for a website, and it tells you about anything you want to know, to include all the places that are linking to your competitor, all the keywords that they're dealing with, and just an incredible amount of data. And it's very powerful. But SEMrush, this article said 7 tools, but I don't think it said free tools. Maybe it did. But SEMrush is not free. SEMrush has a free 14-day, I think it is, trial. After that, they're like, I think it's $97 a month. So that can get expensive. So if you're just starting out and you want to really research a competitor and ask yourself, why is this guy beating me out in the search engines? SEMrush is an excellent tool that I would sign up for the 14-day trial, and before the 14 days ends, I would cancel it. And I'm reading now that SEMrush is $217 per month. And I thought 97. But actually, there's different versions too. I think there's one that only lets you do so many domain names. So that may be the more powerful version. But I know it's expensive, and that most of you wouldn't want to use SEMrush. But it's there, and if I were going to use it and I was just starting out, I would just use the trial version and get a couple sites out there rented and making me money before I thought about taking SEO too seriously. Okay, I'm not really planning on teaching SEO in this training. It's beyond the scope of what this training is for. At the same time, I have done SEO professionally. People like Bob Proctor, who starred in the movie The Secret. I used to work on his sites. I worked on what's his name, the guy who sold the Brooklyn Bridge. I worked on a lot of people's websites when I charged like $3,000, to optimize their sites, and that was Paul Hartunian I was trying to remember. But so I used to do that for a living. I mean, that was what I advertised that I did, but I don't do that anymore. And today's topic, let's go ahead and get into that, is making a list of ideal clients and then contacting those clients. And making a list is a process that you do as you study the marketplace. Everything that you've done up to this point in sessions 1 through 4 was designed to familiarize you with the marketplace. And as you looked around and you looked at your competitors and you looked at keywords and all those things, you should have been making note of who else is targeting your ideal keywords. And then you look at things like, are they spending money? Are they putting a lot of time and effort into getting noticed? And are they spending money? That tells you also that they're making money. And then you have to figure out how to outsmart them. But everybody's looking for the easy way to do things. And my experience has been that there is no really super easy way to do things. So sorry to have to tell you, but there is some work involved. See, I began with the Google keyword tool, and I just come up with a great list of keywords. I dig down. It's going to suggest words that you probably wouldn't think of, phrases you wouldn't think of. And as you get that list of words or phrases, drop each of those into the Google search window and search on that phrase. And when you do that, look at who's paying to advertise on those keywords. You want to make note of that because those people are your potential renters for your website. If they're across the top of the search results and it says sponsored ad, that means they paid for the ad. If it's off on the right in those little squares, that's Google AdWords ads. Those people have paid to be there. They're spending money for every click they get, and a lot of them aren't getting that great a return on investment. So if you can go to them and say, I have a very highly ranked website, and I'll rent it to you for X number of dollars a month. If they can do the crunch numbers in their head and see that it's cheaper than them spending money on pay-per-click, then there's no reason for them not to rent from you. So you want to make note of who your potential renters are. And I put here that you want to focus on maybe the top 10 to 20 of those advertisers. So as you see the Google AdWords ads, you'll see, I don't know, 10 maybe off to the side on the right side of the page. Go ahead and click on the links. Visit their webpage. Yeah, they're going to pay for that click. And that's, you're not doing that maliciously. You want to know who they are. And so as you visit their website, make note of who they are. Make note of their contact information. You want their name, their email address, their web address, their phone number, their physical address. If it shows it, you want the name of the business owner, because when you contact them, you want to make sure you're contacting the decision maker. And if you use that person's name in your contacts, that's very powerful. Then they know that, it's not just some email you blasted out to 100 people, it's personal, okay? So what I do, and what I encourage you to do, is to copy and paste that contact information into a text file for now. And I normally use Notepad. And in the session where I talked about the different styles of websites, I talked about a directory style website where you list on one page a bunch of businesses, and all you give is the business name, their mailing, their email address, their name, their address, and their phone number, their name, their physical address, and their phone number. That gives you a directory. You just list 10, 20 different businesses on a page, and you've got a directory of all the lawyers or all the doctors or all the car repair shops in a city. And with that model, what you then do is reach out to each of those businesses and point out you gave them a free listing, and you either want them to, you can offer an enhanced listing for a fee, or you have this spot up top where you have some verbiage like rent this space, and that space is where they can show a video, would give a lot more detail about their business, and they get the top spot. But what you're really fishing for there is for them to say, I don't want to be on the same page with all my competitors. What would you charge me to delete all my competitors and I get the sites ranked number 1 in Google for this term? That's what you're really fishing for. But that's the directory style site model. And for that one, you do want to take this list of your competitors, people bidding on the keywords that you're bidding on, basically, and you want to say, look, I've already ranked for the terms that you're going after, and you show it to them. And I've given you a listing even, and you're fishing. You play it by ear, sort of. You put it out there, and you want them to come back and either offer to pay for a listing or to buy or rent the site. And I prefer having them rent the site, because then you've got that recurring income coming in. After doing my research on Google and looking at the listings there, going through each keyword, then I go over to Facebook. And in Facebook, you've got the search box. I just type in the keywords using that search box. And there you're looking for groups and pages built around those keywords. And I think you can select between group and pages. And it's going to rank them by size. So it'll show you the busiest groups and the busiest pages first. You're going to visit each of those groups and each of those pages, or as many as you care to. And when you visit those, you want to look for whose page it is, who's in charge of this rodeo. Those are the people you want to reach out to if they have their own. Usually when somebody has a page, it links to an offline or brick and mortar business. That's why they created the page. And a lot of the groups are the same way. So those are the people you're looking for to try to rent your website to, okay? So you want to look around the page or the group. You want to get a feel for who's running the show. You want to know something about the person running the group. What are their hobbies, their interests, and what are the hobbies and interests of their employees and even their family members? When people have pages or groups, they'll post pictures of their kids, at their baseball game or cheerleading tryout or whatever, and they'll post pictures of the new grandkid and all those things. You want to make a mental note of those, because when you reach out to people, you want to reach out to them showing them that you know who they are and that you care about them and you care about the events in their lives, whether you do or not. I mean, you do want to care about people, but, everybody likes to show pictures of what they had for breakfast and their grandkids and their pets and things like that. And they post about things on social media that matter to them. So when you reach out to those people, you want to show them that you know who they are. You understand who they are. You understand what's important to them. You also want to consider starting your own Facebook group and or pages for a number of reasons. One is you're the authority. You created the group, you make the rules. You created the page, you make the rules. It's a little harder to enforce the rules on a page than a group. A group, you could just boot somebody out very easily or not let them post or whatever. With the pages, it's a little harder to manage. I found I have pages that, they'll get up to, I don't know, 80,000 likes, and all of a sudden the spammers notice my page and they go over and post things trying to pull traffic off of my page over to their page or groups, and so that becomes problematic, and then you ask what I do about it, and it's a pain, but it tells you your page has become popular at the same time, or your group, but you become the authority figure within the group too, and that attracts people to you, including potential renters. And so you want to be the big dog in the group, if you will. Your competitors, they'll join your Facebook groups and they'll like and follow your pages because they want to see what you're up to. So what you do is you just look at who's joined your group or followed your page, and you click on the link to go see who they are. And a lot of them will turn out to be ideal renters for your site. They're interested in the topic, they're in the niche, and they're just checking out the competition. And so you just check them out in return. You can also use the invite and share buttons from your groups and your pages to invite people to join your group or like your page. And that works beautifully. I have pages that I just routinely go through and click the invite button, and I select all, as in all of my Facebook followers, and I click the submit button, and all of my Facebook followers are invited to like my page. And within a couple of hours, I'll have, 100, 200 new page likes. That's very powerful. And with the groups, you click the share button, I guess it is, share button, and you share on your timeline. And you add whatever verbiage you want, like come over and join my group, and it's about this or whatever, and it's shown to all the people on your timeline. You're pulling people off your timeline into a group where you can have a deeper conversation with them. And when they see that the group is about whatever your topic is, maybe you're into automotive repair or a certain type of car, and you have a website you want to rent to sell that certain type of car or something related to it. Okay, now you're pulling people over that have an interest in that topic, and hopefully some of those people are your ideal renter. Or you watch whatever else they're talking about, and that points you to a lot of different directions you can go in. So it's very powerful to leverage, what you can learn about people who are visiting your groups and pages, and it's very easy to pull them off your timeline into your groups or onto your pages. So use your Facebook groups and pages. You can have as many as you want. They are free to start with a group in particular. You ask someone to volunteer to be an admin, and you give them the authority to do whatever they want. I mean, most of my groups, my admins have permission to delete people, block people, all those things, erase all of their previous posts, and block them from inviting anyone to the group or whatever, because otherwise managing a group can be a real pain, especially if you have like about 20 groups like I do. So, you want admins there too. And it's, you could even reward your admins somehow. You could give them a free banner across the top of your group or whatever, promoting some product of theirs or in the sidebar. There's a lot of things you could do to reward your admins, and I need to look at that for this group actually. Let's see. Next, let's look at LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very similar to Facebook. The biggest difference in LinkedIn is that the average user of LinkedIn has a higher income than the average user of Facebook, which makes sense because Facebook's got 1 out of every 7 people on the face of planet Earth there. So there are people making no money. LinkedIn has a lot of decision makers, a lot of high income earners, and so it's a good place to get people's attention. You start out there by using the search box, just as you do on Facebook, and you type in your keyword phrase, and you'll find groups of people that are interested in that topic. You can go over and join those groups. You can also start your own Facebook groups. And when you do, on whatever topic, but I would make it on the topic that pertains to the site I have a rent, or the niche, because I recommend that you build, numerous sites in the same niche. So you start a group on that topic, and the people who join that group are interested in that topic, and hopefully they're from different geographic locations, and so you're attracting your ideal renter. With the Facebook, with the LinkedIn group, you can send out a broadcast to all group members who haven't opted out once a week, and that broadcast, which I used to call it an update, I hadn't looked to see what they call it now, but I think it's probably the same. It's an admin message, if you will, to group members, but they don't tell you what you can or can't put in that message. So essentially, as your group grows on LinkedIn, you're building a list that you can send a message to once a week. Now, if that message, if they get tired of it, they're going to opt out of it. If it's, constantly promotional, they're probably going to opt out. But you can certainly mention that you have a website for rent, or even point them to a page on your site and say, here's where I have websites for rent, something like that. It's your group. You make the rules, but realize that you could turn people off if you're too abusive. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. And you decide what you want to put in your updates. You can do them once a week at the most. Next, I wanted to mention iText. iText is at itext.com, and it's a barter club. Barter, when you think of barter, you think, I'll give you something I have, and you give me something. I give you something I have, and you give me something that you have in exchange. That's a barter. I give you my pig, and you give me 3 chickens. That's barter the way it worked in the old days. Barter clubs are where people, they don't have to find somebody that wants what they have. They offer whatever they have to all of the members, and the barter club lets members pay in barter dollars. To earn those barter dollars, you offer your goods and services for sale. Members pay you in barter dollars, which are like making a deposit to a bank account, and when they want something, they spend their barter dollars on those things they want. I am in iText, which has 25,000 business owners in all different niches across the United States and Canada. There are other barter clubs in other countries, and I can point you to some of those. I am not active in any of those, so I don't know all the rules for those, but I can certainly point you to some. And I know that some of these barter clubs work together. For example, if there's something I want that's not available in my barter club, the management, the trade directors can reach across to another barter club and see if that barter club has what I want. And if they do, the barter clubs can split any fees or commissions. And iText charges a 6% per transaction fee. It's an administrative fee. It pays basically the salaries and overhead of the barter or trade directors. It's like paying an account fee at a bank for maintenance of the account. And so it's 6%. What I do is I sell mostly digital products on the barter exchange, and I've earned literally tens of thousands of dollars from selling electrons, ebooks, audios, videos, where I don't have to restock anything. It just sells, and I get tens of thousands of dollars into my barter account that I can then spend on whatever I want to spend it on, as offered by other members of the barter exchange. And I think I shared that in another site. Now, I use this for lead generation, but in a 2-step fashion. First, I offer an item for sale for barter dollars. That's one of the rules of the barter exchanges. You have to accept barter dollars. I'm seeing, I see with some of my slides that I'm coming up on. I see a couple black ones. So I offered goods and services for sale in exchange for barter dollars. I take those barter dollars and I buy whatever I need. But on the back end, now that I've established a business relationship with members of the barter exchange, I offer them other goods and services for cash. I just talk directly to them instead of going through the barter exchange. The barter exchange has no problem with that. It's just that that's how I make friends and get to know some of these 25,000 business owners. Okay. I also use iText to drastically reduce all of my business operating expenses. So I sell things that cost me very little or nothing, and I get goods out of that. I have purchased advertising in newspapers and magazines, on cable television, and on radio. I advertise in local newspapers all the time, and in some national newspapers. Legal services, powers of attorneys, corporations, and things like that are very easy. There's printers who will print full printings of books or flyers or whatever, or banners. There's web hosting, and there's people who do all kinds of web work and voiceovers and things like that, and videos. If I'm going to the city, I call I call my trade director and ask if there are any members of iText anywhere near where I'm going, and they find me a hotel, and they give me a form to fax in that gives them authorization to charge my iText account and tell how many days, how many nights I need. And when I get there, I show my ID card and I'm checked in. And when I get ready to check out, a lot of hotels, you just leave your checkout paperwork in the room and go. And from the airport, I get a limo sitting there waiting for me, and it's paid for via iText. The tip for the driver, if you want to tip the driver, you should. That you pay with cash. But almost anything that I need really in my business, and a lot of things I need in my personal life. My home is furnished with large screen TVs and fancy furniture, and a lot of things that I got on iText. So this is a very powerful resource. You can list your goods and services in the iText marketplace, and you are encouraged to and should charge full retail price for whatever you list there. The thing that's different from in iText from dealing with people in the brick and mortar world. If you are a member of some forum like the Warrior Forum, people expect bargains. They expect to haggle over prices. In the business world, business people expect to pay often premium prices, for a banner that you might can get for $5 or $10 from somebody off of the Warrior Forum or somebody off of Fiverr. A business owner might expect to pay $100 or $200 for that same banner, and so you charge full prices to iText members, but you aren't supposed to charge prices higher than what you charge others online. So that's what you need to watch. But again, it's one of the best kept secrets in the business world, and one of the easiest ways to get into the organization is with an invite from another member. So if any of you, especially if you're from the U.S. or Canada, would like an invite, just let me know via email or messenger, and I'll invite you into the organization, and that practically guarantees that you will get into it. Now, the reason that I say it's the best kept secret is, think about it. If most business owners who are traveling they know that they can get hotel rooms on barter instead of paying cash for them, they would constantly be trying to barter, but the hotel would rather have cash, because the hotel has to then turn around and take its barter dollars and figure out what the heck do we spend this on. And they can spend on things like janitorial services and, repair sidewalks and all those things, asphalt and concrete and all kinds of things like that are available via the trade networks. And some of the biggest places that are members of the trade network are companies that sell perishables. And by perishable, I mean something that if it's not sold today can't be sold tomorrow. For example, a hotel room. If that hotel has any rooms that it doesn't sell today, it can't sell today's hotel rooms tomorrow. They're gone at the click of whatever hour it is. So the hotel owner says, well, rather than let me go empty, why don't I offer it to another person, another business owner who is willing to offer something in exchange for it? And that's how barter came about. And cruise ships do it, and hotels do it, and press and publicity, newspapers, magazines. They think, well, I just add one more sheet of paper to my magazine this run, and I've got 2 pages front and back of advertising space I can sell. And all it cost me was one piece of paper, and they can potentially, some of these big magazines might charge $50,000 to $200,000 for a full page ad, and all it's cost them is to add a sheet of paper and some more ink. That's all, you know. So barter is huge, and yet you don't hear a lot of talk about it, but I'm telling you about it because I use it all the time. Caveat is that it is taxable, and the tax rate you're charged is as if it was regular earnings. So you get Americans get a 1099-B, I think it is what it's called. So it is reported there as you earn this money. And I'm looking at my slide and seeing that several aren't showing up. Let's see. I mentioned barter. Okay. Off of my view on the left, which you guys can see, it doesn't show anything on my slide, but here it does. Okay. Another place you can look to track down information on businesses is a site called manta.com. That's MANTA.com. Manta.com has a database that contains information on approximately 10 million local businesses. You go to manta.com and there's a search box. You type in the name of the niche and you type the location. And it'll give you the names, addresses, phone numbers, website URLs, the different types of services they provide. Probably give information on the ownership, the size of the company, all kinds of data. That's at manta.com, and it's free to use. So check it out. You know, there's a lot of ways to find information on businesses, and this is a very powerful one. Another one is at jigsaw.com. Jigsaw.com recently merged with data.com, so you can enter either URL. I think data.com bought Jigsaw, but I'm not sure. There you enter into the search box the niche, you know, like auto repair, and then a what do you call that, a semicolon, or whatever it's called, and then the location. That's a comma. Okay, the niche and then a comma and location, and it will return to you all kinds of data, basically the contact data, the size of the company. It shows you in a window the different levels of management and lets you choose, you know, if it shows you more than one person's contact information, it'll tell you what level of management they're at, you know, are they a sales director, or are they CEO, or they whatever. And so you can click on different people who within the returns and pick who you want to reach out to. Maybe you don't want to reach out to the CEO. Maybe the CEO's turn that responsibility of advertising, which is what running a website is, to someone else. So maybe you want to find that person, reach out to them. But jigsaw.com will let you do that. So you have my slides. Just make a point of going over to jigsaw.com and just looking around. If you have any questions, certainly feel free to reach out to me, but I think the site is fairly intuitive, and I didn't want to spend a lot of time just going over and jumping back and forth showing you inside the site. Okay. Another thing you could do is just go to Google and Google whatever niche you're looking at, plus the word trade associations or trade association. Every major industry in America, at least, has a trade association, whether it's dog breeders or some profession, you know, doctors and lawyers and dentists and chiropractors and contractors, whatever. A lot of these specialties have trade associations. And so Google will point you to a trade association, and a lot of those trade associations have member directories. Some have searchable databases online, others don't, but that's a place to look if you can't find what you're looking for. That's one route to take, one that I have used from time to time, but it's you know, it takes a little creativity, but it's certainly a way to find somebody, and especially a niche where there's a lot of money involved, you know, some type of dental specialty or whatever. And even when I mentioned LinkedIn, there's groups on LinkedIn that are specialists in, you know, certain types of dentists, certain types of lawyers, certain types of realtors. You know, there's realtors who only deal in houses that are $1 million or more in value, or in luxury locations or whatever. There are groups on LinkedIn of just realtors who do that, and probably some groups on Facebook too. I haven't really looked at those, but I know LinkedIn has groups that are that specialized. Now I'm pulling you back into the brick and mortar world. I have gone to my local chamber of commerce and asked them. I'm a member of 2 local chambers and not a member of a third one in my area, but I asked all 3 if I could get a list of their members, and they handed me directories. All 3 handed me directories, and one handed me a disc with their membership on it, all their members. And so that included all the businesses, but also civic organizations and things like, I don't know, the local flower club or whatever, but they were all members of the Chamber of Commerce. They were all on this disc. And so I could find the names, the contact people, the addresses, the phone numbers, the emails. That was all on a disc that a Chamber of Commerce that I won't not mention the name of handed me. And that is extremely powerful. Now, how I did that was I was at the time looking for groups I could go and speak at during their business meetings. I wanted to position myself as an expert in the local area. And so I contacted, the Kiwanis and all these groups that are the Lions Club and groups like that have regular business meetings once a week, or they have breakfasts and they get together. And they usually have somebody who's an entertainment chairman whose responsibility is to find somebody to entertain people while they're eating their meal and rubbing elbows. So I reached out to those people and said, can I come and give a presentation that will help your members, teach your members how to leverage the internet in this case to grow their businesses? And I pointed out what my specialty was, and they said, sure. And so I got a free meal, and I got half an hour to stand up front of the room and give a presentation on how they could leverage the internet to grow their business, but at the same time, I passed out my business cards, and a lot of them called me later and said, I want you to help me. And so that was how I generated a lot of business over the years. That's getting a little off, but I asked for directories, and they gave them to me. A bit about now contacting these business owners. And this is common sense. You want to be brief and to the point, because these people are busy people. When I get called by a telemarketer or somebody knocks on my door or whatever, I'm usually busy or think I'm busy, and I want them to get to the point rather than trying to be clever or something with me. Okay, so you need to answer right away the what's in it for me question. You're contacting them and you've interrupted whatever they're doing, even if it's just watching television. And so you need to tell them, why they want to give you a few minutes of their time to listen to you. Now, I personally will work with 5 to 10 potential renters at a time, trying to find renters for a specific website. And I keep track of that in a spreadsheet. But when I make that list in Notepad of the businesses that I said were advertising via AdWords or buying sponsored spots, and then I go and I look up a lot of those businesses, I'm really only targeting the ones that are the most active at first. They're up top of the search engines, or they're in the top of Google AdWords or sponsored ads because they are really working to build their business. So those are the people I want to reach out to first. They are already spending money to grow their business. They understand the importance of it. If they say no, then I'll work my way down the list. But I'll pick 5 or 10 people, and usually in reaching out to those 5 or 10 people, somebody's going to come back and say, I want to rent your site. I use an Excel spreadsheet to track it all. Basically, the Excel spreadsheet has the domain name, and it has a bunch of information about the different contacts. And every time I contact somebody, I have columns for the different ways I contact them, and I have columns for the response I got from them. And so that's how I track it. You can track it any way you want. You probably won't have anywhere near as many websites as I do to track. And I probably need to find a smarter, easier way to track it too. There's probably programs out there that I haven't found or stumbled across yet. I need to ask some of my other friends who are into domaining or ranking and renting websites. Okay, you need to plan on reaching out to these people multiple times. If they're not interested, they're going to tell you, I'm not interested, because they don't want you wasting their time. So if they don't tell you they're not interested, chances are that they're, maybe they read your email and they were interested, but something diverted their attention. Something came up, some fire they had to put out, something happened with the children or the spouse, or they're driving in their car and on their cell phone, something's wrong with the car. Something pulled them out of listening to you, and so you need to follow up with them. When they're not interested, they will tell you they're not interested. Then you stop bothering them. Okay, you need to be professional, be polite, and try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And I spell prospects wrong, but think, what's this person's day like? If they're a regular business owner, if they own a retail establishment, they are dealing with a plethora of problems. I've been in organizations that had business owners, retail business owners, and they're worried about their employees stealing from them, their customers stealing from them, vendors stealing from them, bankers asking how they're doing. If they're doing great, the banker wants to raise their interest rates. And if they're doing terrible, the banker's thinking, well, I don't really want to lend money to this person. The employee asks, how are we doing, boss? And the boss says, we're doing great. The employee thinks, great, I'll ask for a raise. And if the boss says, things are not going that well, that person starts looking for a new job. So the boss, these business owners are in a world there where most people don't understand what they go through every day. If you can put yourself in their shoes, they'll bond with you, they'll trust you, and they will buy from you. But you got to show them you understand their world. I mentioned vendors steal from them. Now, the people who own like a retail convenience store, the Coke guy comes through or the beer guy comes through, and as he walks past the cash register, he yells 20 cases, and the cashier who's busy nods their head, or the manager, and that guy goes through the storage room or the stock room, out the back door with the beer still on his hand cart, and takes it back and stacks it next to his truck. The stores are recorded that he brought it into the store. He can sell it to his buddies, and the store has just blown that money. That happens in the world of retail business, and so they are constantly fighting, problems like that. And so if you can be on their side, they will be happy to deal with you. Now, in my contacts, I don't generally mention price in the first contact. I leave the door open for them to negotiate. Many of you who have done negotiating, a lot of you think, oh, whoever mentions price first loses. That's not always the case, but it does put you at a slight disadvantage, so something to think about. Email is my first choice for contacting most potential renters. Yes, they're bombarded with email, but it's the easiest way to reach out to most people. Everybody has an email address. Some hide them, but you want to dig for the email address of the decision maker, and not some email address that's checked by a gatekeeper or whoever happens to be assigned to check email that day, and they delete most of it. You want to be brief, and you want to use that first email mainly to open communications. You want to get that person, that first contact, whether it's via email or other channels, you want them responding to you. Once they've said something, even if it's, I'm interested, tell me more, or how much, or whatever. Okay, now they've opened the channels of communication. They've given you permission to negotiate with them, to keep talking. They've said, I'm interested. That's what you're looking for. And a lot of it's got to do with your intention. If you're thinking, let me see how much I can rip this person off for, they can sense that. We're electromagnetic creatures. We know when somebody's trying to rip us off. So be totally above board. Don't think, let me trick this person into dealing with me. And I've seen that done before too. People think they're being clever, and they do things that sometimes work, but not always. And so I don't do those things. And if the business sees that you're really capable of helping them, there's no reason for them not to want to deal with you. They're in business to make money, to grow their business, to make money for their stockholder or whoever. And so they want to hear from you as long as it's relevant. But if it's not relevant, then it's spamming, and that annoys the crap out of all of us. So make sure it's relevant. See, you want to visit the potential person you're going to email or contact via any channel. You want to visit their Facebook pages, their websites, or LinkedIn things, and you're doing you're spying. You're trying to see who they are, what they're about, because you want to really know who they are when you approach them. And then when you approach them, say something in your email that shows that you've actually visited their website or looked at their Facebook page or whatever. Mention their kids' accomplishments, mention some award they've received or whatever. Let them know this is not just some random email, a random contact. I actually have looked at you and believe that what I have is going to help you, that you're a match for what I have. And there are tools that will let you search on a keyword or location and pull up, a list of 50 different businesses, and you can then tell the software to send out the same email, just changing the name to 50 different businesses. And I've tested some of those. They sort of work as advertised, but people can tell when it's a broadcast. And I haven't found any that I felt so great about that I would recommend them now to anyone else. So, if you come across something you want me to take a look at it, I'll happily do that. But right now, I recommend making your connections personal. Yeah, that's going to take longer. It's going to take more effort. But when you look at the fact that if you get somebody that's renting a site from you for, I don't know, as little as $300 a month, that's $3,600 a year. If they stay with you for 10 years, that's, what's that, $36,000? Something like that. And if they really like you and they're happy with you delivering them customers, they're going to recommend you to their friends, even other colleagues in their industry who aren't serving the same geographic region. They talk to each other. They will recommend you if you deliver the goods. So it's not just the sales you get from helping them, but the sales you get from referrals, which can also be a lot more. So you can land one client that you put a little effort into landing, and that client could be potentially worth 6 figures if they're a thought leader and they tell a lot of other people, really check this guy out because he knows what he's doing. He's sent me a lot of customers. He can help your business to grow too. Listen to that thought leader and just putting in a little effort to show them that you can really help them, and then land them as a client and delivering on the goods. You can be set for life with just a couple of really good clients there. See, a lot of people will ask me, what do I say in my emails or on the phone or in a text message? My answer is I have scripts that I will give you. I'll stick those inside the membership site. I haven't done that yet. I'll give you the exact words I often use, but I encourage you to put them in your own words. When you use some verbiage that's somebody else's verbiage, it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't sound natural. People can sense that it's not you talking. So, it's really just you talking to another business owner saying, here's something that's going to help you out. It's going to bring you new customers, and it's cheaper or more cost effective than other things you're doing. It's more costly than the yellow pages or billboard ads or pay-per-click ads or something like that. You set things up so they can actually track the results that are coming from you. There's no reason they wouldn't buy from you. So you're not trying to fast talk them into anything. You're just saying, I understand your business, and let me help you. So you don't need to memorize any words. You can memorize the gist of the message, but don't try to say something word for word, or even worse, don't try to read it because it's going to sound like you're reading. So don't do that. When you're writing an email or talking on the phone, try to have a smile on your face. People can sense your mood, and that carries across in your email message. I mean, even though you think, gee, I'm having a really terrible day, and I'm desperate, I hope I can make some sales from this email. People can sense that in your email. You don't sense it, but it's just your choice of words. It's the energy in that email or that phone call. People can sense that. So try to be in a good mood. Put a smile on your face, even if don't feel like smiling. It's hard to be in a bad mood when you're smiling. That's been proven. I also use a browser plugin called Rapportive. It's like, you build rapport with people. So Rapportive lets you sort of feel like you have rapport with the person you're talking to. It's a Gmail browser plugin that you can download from the store, and you can just Google Rapportive browser plugin. It'll point you to places to download it. What it does is it goes out on the internet using the email address of the person. That's why it's a Gmail plugin. It's looking at the email address that you're reading the message from, and it goes out over the internet looking at publicly available data such as people's social media profiles. I don't know where all it queries, but it then comes back and tells you who that person is, and sometimes it'll show you even their picture. It'll show you right there in Gmail as you're reading the email or as you're writing an email, if you have both your email, or if you're we respond to an email that's open. So you're seeing the person you're talking to, and it'll often tell you where they're at. It'll tell you their job, their position, things like that. So, often somebody will use their initial plus a last name, or they'll make up some name, or they'll use whatever because they want to maintain their privacy. But Reporter, if it can find data on that person, will tell you who you're dealing with. And I think that's important because I want to know if I'm dealing with a single mom who's, put on Facebook that she's, taking care of the kids or whatever, or, a disabled vet or whatever. I want to know who I'm dealing with because I want to be able to connect with them. I want to feel like, I know who they are and I really care about them. And so I use Reporter, and I like that. I recommend it. Let's see. Where am I? That was email, though. Use people's website contact forms, but don't abuse them. There's nothing worse than receiving a bunch of spam that doesn't pertain to you, or just, somebody saying, congratulations on your new website. It looks great. Let me offer you this service or whatever. Those are annoying. So, make them relevant and be brief, to the point again, and open in what you're all about. With Facebook, you can contact people over Facebook using Messenger. I prefer Facebook Messenger. And some places I talk to people via their chat bots, if there's one offered. The thing with Facebook is you want to be discreet, because you have to realize that one out of every 7 people on the face of planet Earth is on Facebook. And so when you post a message, if it's embarrassing, if it's whatever, the world sees it. Even if it's not embarrassing, but it can be misinterpreted. And people are reading this message and thinking, what's up with him? Why is this person saying this or that? So I believe that you should be discreet in what you post on Facebook, certainly on somebody's Facebook wall. I see people violate that all the time. Don't use cut and paste messages when you're sending people messages on Facebook. They can often sense it. Respect the fact that people think of their Facebook inbox as private, almost sacred turf. So when you send somebody a message that they aren't expecting, it's like violating their sacred turf. And it's the same with people's inboxes. People get very upset when they get messages they don't want, that don't pertain to something that they care about. So, think about that. But you're not spamming somebody if you're sending them a message that's relevant to what they care about and a problem that they want to solve. After you send the message, don't expect people to respond right away. If somebody sends me a message on Facebook Messenger, I don't like to give knee-jerk reactions. I like to think about my response. In fact, I use a browser plugin called Hide Scene. It's Facebook Hide Scene, that hides the fact that I have read their message. And the reason I do that usually is because I don't want somebody to see that they sent me a message via Facebook Messenger and I read it and didn't respond to them. Because a lot of people go, why didn't you respond? He's ignoring me, or, what's wrong? And they get all upset. And they'll even email you, why didn't you respond? Well, I may want to think about my response instead of giving a knee-jerk reaction. And so I want time to think about it. Or maybe I need to look up the response or look up something before I respond to it. So don't be upset if I don't respond to you right away and you think I've seen your message. I think about messages and I go back to a lot of them after I've had a chance to do some research. So, so give people time to respond. But if they don't respond after a reasonable amount of time, I'd say a couple of days maybe, remind them, because maybe the message is then scrolled off their radar screen. LinkedIn, a lot like Facebook and stuff, again, you can send messages directly to people's inboxes. When you upgrade, there's different options there, so you need to read about that. But with a free LinkedIn account, you can send messages certain places, but others you can't. And William's saying I'm floating in and out. That's probably because I'm moving away from and back to my microphone. When I turn my head to read something on the screen and I move closer to the screen, that's what's happened. So I apologize for that. I need to be more cognizant of that and probably wear a headset rather than using a USB mic that's just sitting on my desk. So that's LinkedIn. You can get, LinkedIn does offer one search where they guarantee that your message will get into their inbox. So read about that. I don't want to give all the conditions of that right now because I'm sort of fuzzy myself. There's a program called BombBomb, which I think is a terrible name when people are always terrorists or thinking to blow things up. But BombBomb is a Gmail plugin that allows you to record and send a video message right from Gmail. I have tested it. It's a little pricey, but you basically, you're letting the person see you, connect with you. And you're sitting there using your webcam or whatever. You're recording a message. And when you click send, it goes right over Gmail, just like any other Gmail message, but it's a video message that you recorded over your computer. Very powerful, but again, a little expensive, and I haven't used it much recently, but it's that high touch though. Gmail also offers the ability to do video meetings right within your browser. I haven't used that capability. I see the camera and all that in my Gmail, but I haven't used it. And so if sometimes you want to, as you're negotiating with a person, have that meeting, that one-on-one meeting with them right there within your Gmail account. So you would set up a Gmail meeting with them right there. I use Zoom for face-to-face meetings. I do some days 4 or 5 Zoom meetings. Some of them where I have just me and one person, somewhere I have a whole bunch of people. And it's very personal. The person can read your body language. They can get a feel for, are you sincere? They can get a feel for, are you fearful? They can get a feel for whatever. You know, probably 95% of our communications as humans is nonverbal. It's the little pauses we take and the hesitations and all those things, and the intonation and the little quirks we have in our movements and things like those. People read those, and while some differ from culture to culture, and so people can misinterpret certain things, body language is powerful. And so I like using Zoom myself. I like looking at the other person, having my camera going, having them have their camera going, and we talk to each other face to face, eye to eye, and I can read their body language. They can read my body language. That closes a lot of sales for me, actually. So think about Zoom. You go to zoom.us, and you can get a free account. The free account used to let you talk for up to 45 minutes and have up to 10 people on the call. It's a conference call. They relaxed those standards some because of the COVID-19, and so you can now have more people on the call, and you can go longer than 45 minutes for free. After 45 minutes, or whatever the limit is now, they have paid plans that start out very inexpensively. Zoom lets you broadcast over Facebook and YouTube. It lets you do a lot of capabilities. It records the call. You can have it show anything you want over Zoom, to include your webcam, but also slides and notes and whatever you want to. Just tell it which application to show, and it shares it. And you can transfer control back and forth between you and other people on the call. So very powerful application that will help you to close a lot of sales, a lot of renters who aren't quite sure they want to trust you or don't quite understand what you're saying. That's what I do when I'm talking to somebody, and in emails I can't figure out what the heck they're trying to say. I get on the Zoom call with them and say, what are you saying, and then we get it clear. Certainly don't overlook the phone or text. That's why you recorded their phone number. And if it's a text number that's available, I usually will text first and ask if it's okay to call them, just because I prefer that, just interrupting someone's day. And then you set up a time that's convenient for them, tell them what you want to talk about. And if they run a brick and mortar business, try not to interfere with their normal operations. Try to find a time when you don't think they'll be that tied down with it. And then when you reach them, ask them, is now a good time to talk? You want to let them know you respect their time, but that you're there to help them. So ask them, now a good time to talk. And if they say no, ask when's a better time to talk, and they'll tell you. You can ask for introductions of mutual acquaintances, perhaps a Facebook or LinkedIn friend. LinkedIn shows you and Facebook, who their friends are that are also mutual friends of yours. So you're trying to reach somebody, ask a friend, a mutual friend, can you introduce me to this other person who's also a friend, but I don't really know them. Personal introduction will often make the sale 90% there. People trust people that their friends recommend. They should anyway. And their friends shouldn't recommend somebody that they don't really believe in. Face-to-face networking, I do a lot of that. BNI, I'm a member of a local chapter that's Business Networking International, and they've got millions of people now in chapters around the world. They get together, and BNI is all about referring business to other members. So they meet in small groups, and they ask the members, what are you looking for? Who can I refer to you? And then they go out of their way to refer business to other members. But you can certainly, in your group, tell group members that you rent websites and what space that's in, and some of them will be interested in renting the website from you, but it's a way of building connections. I also used to attend a lot of seminars and conferences where I was sort of an authority figure because I had podium power because I was often one of the speakers. And I've gone on probably about 15 cruises that were business groups that went on the cruises. So you're after hours talking to other cruisers who are in a very relaxed atmosphere where they're very happy and they're playing with their kids and drinking and playing in the splash pool and going on excursions and stuff like that. It's a big vacation, but because you're all enjoying the vacation together, it's an excellent time to form relationships and to set up business partnerships and to find customers. Just you're all relaxed and you're all in it together, basically. I love cruises. I touched on this before, but use attraction marketing by being the obvious expert. That's why I spoke of being a speaker at different things. You can become known as the expert in marketing in a specific niche, such as dentistry or car sales or coaching or contracting. And again, that's where I ask you to go ahead and identify a niche that you want to dive deep into, because you can become known as the cosmetic dentist marketing expert, and cosmetic dentist in city A will recommend you to a buddy in city B, C, and D, and all of a sudden you've got all these dentists renting websites from you, and they're paying you high dollar because each of the clients is worth a lot. Okay, can take longer because of all the networking, but it's worth it. I also, in becoming an expert, think you should write a book or at least be published in an industry publication or journal so that people see your name, they go, whoa, he wrote a book, or he was in the American Journal of Medical Association, or whatever. And that elevates you in the eyes of your prospects. It's easier to sell people or to rent stuff to people if they view you as an expert. People look up to people. People like associating with winners. So you want to be a winner, and then let that be obvious, okay? I think this is the last one I was going to touch on, which is direct mail. You can't get around the gatekeeper any other way. They are screening phone calls, they're screening emails, and I do have friends who have email assistants who read all their emails and only forward certain ones to them, and so you can't even reach them by email. And they have social media assistants who respond to all the posts on social media, so it's almost impossible to reach some of these people. One way to reach them is to send them a direct mail piece, and I use greeting cards for that. I use a company called Send Out Cards, which lets you send cards and or gifts right over the internet using your computer, your tablet, or your smartphone. They have apps for the tablets and the smartphone, and on the computer you're just using your regular browser. I encourage you to check out thecardthingy.com, which is a tracking link that tracks back to me. I have been with this company, working with this company since 2004. When I worked primarily as a joint venture broker, my job was to go out and recruit affiliates or joint venture partners to promote other people's product launches. This is how I put together multi-million-dollar product launches. Whenever I met somebody at a seminar or a conference or on a cruise that was my same niche, I took pictures with them. And later, I sent them greeting cards with a picture of me and them together enjoying ourselves at a conference or at a meal or at a cruise or on the beach, and they instantly remembered who I was. They didn't remember previously, and it just rekindled the relationship there. And so when I reach out to people on these projects, I often will reach out via via greeting card. I recommend you do the same thing for domaining at times. You can take a snapshot of the prospect or their business. You can grab it from their website or from social media. People post all kinds of pictures on social media. You can click on the picture. A lot of times there's a link that says download. You just download it. And Send Out Cards actually lets you go over the person's profile and select the picture directly from there. But I tend to download them and upload them to a card catalog, they call it. And I compose a card right there on my computer with a picture of me and that person together, or a picture of me and that person's business. I add their website URL to the card, of course, to use, I guess you'd call it the puppy dog clothes. I let them see themselves owning that website or renting that website. So I put the URL, especially the URL is their niche plus their city name, or in some cases their business name. You know, a lot of people go into business and they go out and look on the internet trying to buy their business name, and it's not available because someone else has it, and then that person fails to renew it for whatever reason. You buy it, all of a sudden you reach out to that business owner saying, hey, I've got your ideal business name, and you put it on a card and send it to them, and it gets around the gatekeepers and everyone else. Usually people don't throw away cards, especially the ones that have their pictures on them. This is very powerful. On the card, you, of course, want to include your contact information. My cards actually have a logo on the back that includes all that. And I invoke the law of reciprocity by including a gift with each card I send usually. That gift is a package of gourmet brownies. I can send them a 2-pack, a 4-pack, a 10-pack, or whatever. And they cost anywhere from, I average about $10 for each package of brownies I send them. But it invokes the law of reciprocity. I envisioned when I was doing joint venture broking, that person reading my JV proposal, sitting there thinking about it as they're eating my brownies. And so they feel a little obligation, at least think about it, you know. They could say no, but they at least think about it, okay? For the Send Out Cards account that I have, I pay $97 per month to send an unlimited number of cards anywhere in the world, and that $97 per month includes first-class postage. So in a typical month, I actually send several hundred cards, and in the process, say I send 300 cards for $97. That's costing me like 30 cents per card. That's less than the cost of the first-class postage stamp, and I'm able to send them a full-color card with their picture on it, their face on it, or whatever, in my message, and I send it right over the internet. So I send those all day long. See, David asked, what's the retail price of sending a card for those who are not members? If you go to thecardthingy.com, they have a free option where you're not a member, and so you just pay per card. It shows right there on the site what it is. I think it's a little over $2 per card, but it's the same card if you went to Walmart and uploaded your photos from your camera to Walmart's little machine right there in the store. They're going to charge you about $5 for the same service. So it's very powerful. I use it all the time. Notice how to set up the retail transaction. Do you use? I'm trying to read this. Do you use a PayPal option like a subscription? And that's what I'm going to cover in the next session. But I typically will set up a subscription for a lot of customers because it's most convenient. For those who don't use PayPal, I use Stripe sometimes. Stripe can deposit the money directly to your bank account. For some customers who don't want to use Stripe or PayPal, I set up a direct deposit. And so it depends on the customer. If it's like an online marketer, they all have PayPal accounts, except the ones that have their PayPal accounts restricted or closed. PayPal it's cracked down a lot on people for whatever reason. And so a lot of people don't have PayPal now. So Stripe lets them use any credit or debit card, and it's deposited directly to your business checking account. So I have Stripe, I have PayPal, and I have a regular merchant account. It's good to have backups, but PayPal's preferred for lower dollar transactions. If I get up into the thousands of dollars and I do sell things for as high as 10 grand, then I want a direct deposit to my bank account. I don't want to go through some third party that can mess with my transaction or freeze it for a while. Kathy's asking, where do you buy the brownies? Send Out Cards has relationships with manufacturers. So with the brownies, I don't know who the manufacturer is, but the brownies are kosher and a bunch of other things that they're individually wrapped, and everything is just like a brownie you'd buy from a grocery store, except that Send Out Cards has them delivered by the truckload to the factory. They also have gift cards, they have plaques, they have books, they have a whole variety of things. And all you do is log into your account. Get back to David's question. One option is a pay-as-you-go option. There's another one where it's like a card a day plan that costs less per card. And then there's the one I have, which is $97 per month for an unlimited number of cards. But those cards, you're supposed to compose them individually. So you can't just make one card up and send it to 1,000 people. You're supposed to do those individually. They do have another option where you can compose one card and send it to a list. And that cost, there's a different pricing structure for that. But that would be like if you had a group, a club that you were in, or you were planning a Christmas party or a birthday party or a wedding, and you wanted to send the same card to a bunch of people. That system lets you treat sending those cards like an autoresponder, and it personalizes each card as it's printed. But the system I use, the membership that I have, and somebody's asking, Jill's asking, what's the URL again? It's thecardthingy.com, like http://thecardthingy.com. Okay, thecardthingy.com. It should have popped up in your window, but thingy, yeah. That comes from my daughter and a bunch of her friends. When they couldn't remember what something was called, they used to say thingy. So instead of saying, trying to figure out what it was called, they would say thingy, Thingy. So I thought it was that the card thingy was easy to remember, and it is. I've used that URL for probably 5 or 6 years now, and so as long as I keep renewing it, it's mine, and it just redirects and lets people know that I did the referral. Yes, the site says that I'm the one who referred you, and I think that's on another slide. Yeah, my slide says, in the interest of full disclosure, Send Out Cards, the company that's been in business. They've been in business since 2003. I was introduced to them in 2004, and I've been with them since 2004. So for 16 years, I've been with them, and I earn a commission when someone purchases a product through my referral link. I get 20% commission off of all the goods and all the services that I sell. Plus, I get a percent commission off of the goods and services that other people I recruit for the company sell. So I have a team of people beneath me. It's multi-level, but the cards don't cost any more, and you can just buy one. You can subscribe and pay as you go. You cannot get involved in the money-making side of it, just use it as a service, which is what I did for most of my 16 years with the company. But I'm now moving up in the ranks too, and it's good income. They pay me every week via direct deposit straight to my checking account, my business checking account. And again, it's 20% of the cost or the price on all the cards and gifts that are sent. So that can add up. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you get into an organization that's got thousands of customers, it adds up to quite a bit. The top guy in the company is doing well over $1 million a year, and I know several people doing comparable amounts from just selling cards and gifts. Okay? But I wouldn't be using them that long if I really believe in the service and get a lot out of it. I use it primarily to stay in contact with my customers. Kathy says it's $197 per month plus $175 for the card. No, for the individual cards where you sit down and you compose a card with whatever pictures you want, whatever message you want, that is included. David said the card thingy doesn't seem to be working. It should, the card thingy.com. Yeah, it should be working. It could be temporarily down. I'll check it when I get off, but I'm hesitant to pull out of this window now. I just know that that is my URL, and I renewed the last time it was up for renewal, so it should be working. And I, tonight's call, I didn't really want to focus you on that so much, but it is a great way to get in touch with prospects, potential customers, to stay in touch with people, actually. In fact, the president of the company, the founder, he is running a special promotion now where for people who have the $97 per month plan through the 8th of June, when they send a card, and they can send an unlimited number of cards anyway, normally they would pay anywhere from $10 up to include the brownies, the package of brownies with the card. But between now and the 8th of June at midnight Mountain Standard Time, which is where the company is located, when you send a card, you can include a package of brownies for free. The company's paying for that, and that includes the extra postage of the brownies. So you pay $97 a month. You go out and send 100 cards between now and the 8th. You pay $97 to send 100 cards, and you can include brownies in all those cards if you want to. I don't plan on doing that. It's going to cost the company a lot of money, and he knows most people won't do that. But he was so upset with the riots going on in the country that he said, we need to give people somewhere to reach out and show some love or whatever. So to just reach, the intention is for you to use that as a care package to reach out to somebody and say, I know you're hurting, or I know you're afraid, or I know you're concerned. And that's why he's running the special and basically taking the money out of his own pocket to pay for the brownies, the cards and stuff. Those are all built into when they crunch their numbers, the company's expenses are paper and ink, and postage. And so most people who have that $97 a month plan are going to send just a few cards. I send cards every day because I'm that disciplined, and because it's how I maintain top of mind awareness with customers and friends and family members, and just reach out to old people like my father's sister, who's 95 now, and say, I was thinking about you. And then she called me in tears. That's what I use a system for, to stay in touch with people. See, I invite this next one. I'd like to invite you to send a free sample of you to test out the send out card system if you don't have an account with them already, and I'll pay for you to send a card, but not to send the brownie, because that if I send it from my account, it's included in my account, and I don't pay extra for it. If you send it, it costs me extra. But if I let you send the card from my account, it doesn't cost me extra. So if you'd like to be able to send a card from my account, just email me, Willie at williecrawford.org, or drop me a message on Facebook Messenger, and I'll tell you how to send the card from my account for free. I'll also, if you want me to send you a package of brownies, just let you see what it feels like, what it'll feel like when your prospect receives this gift in the mail. It's in a package. It looks like a box, like an Amazon box, whatever, except it says send out cards on it. And the envelope has your name and address and all that stuff on it. To see what that feels like when your prospect receives it, if you give me your name and your mailing address, I'll send you a package. It won't cost me anything between now and the 8th of June, as I just shared with you. So, send me some brownies, Willie. I'll send them to you, and you can see the card. See, where am I? Yeah, my purpose is to let you see what the system is like. And I can even get on later if you want and do a Zoom demo with you where I talk you through sending a card, but it's very, very intuitive. If you go to thecardthingy.com, it actually on that page steps you through how to use the system. Kevin says, when are you sending us brownies for being such good students? I send gifts all the time. Every day I wake up, and the first person that pops into my mind, I send them a card and often a gift. Kathy asked, what do they mean by heartfelt single card? You can send like I mentioned, you can do a group send where you send the same card to multiple people. That is not a heartfelt single card send. Single card is basically you're sitting down and just thinking about a person and you're writing out a message and you're putting whatever pictures you want in it on the outside of the card and the inside of the card. You can put as many pictures as you want. You can overlay them, make collages and all kinds of things. The part that lets you write your message is basically a word processor that lets you change the font, the size, the color, the centering, and all that. You can, on a smart device, speak your message, and the system will type out what you speak. You can upload your own signature and your own handwriting font to the system, and then when you compose a card and get ready to send it, you tell it, use my handwriting font. You can have several signatures. You can have one for business, one for personal, whatever. You can have, Mr. and Mrs. or whatever. And you can select which of your signatures you want to put in each of the individual cards. So the system is very flexible there. And Kevin, it's not costing me anything extra. I'm already using the system. It's just a matter of me sitting down, composing a card and sending it with the brownies. And once you get in the habit of doing that, it actually makes you feel good to envision the other person receiving the gift. That's why people like giving things. Actually, I watch this world that appears to be blowing up right now, but it's not. Somebody asked, when will you be giving us some sort of range for what we will be renting out websites for? That's their biggest sticking point. It depends really on the niche that you're in and the location. I covered that before. If you're in a product town where the people, very rural farming country, where the people make very little money and there's a very high poverty rate, those people don't have a lot of money to spend on goods and services. So the people that provide them with goods and services can't really afford to charge them that much. And so you can't rent a website out in a community like that for a lot. I looked at, I have several friends who have purchased domain names, and they sent me a list jokingly asking if I wanted to buy the domain names off of them. The first thing I do is I go to city-data.com when the domain name has the name of a city in it, and I type in the name of that city, and I pull up that city. I'm looking at the demographics of that city. Is this a rural area? Is this area with very high poverty? What's the crime rate like in this area? Is the area growing or shrinking? What's the average age of the person in there? What are the demographics? What's housing selling for or renting for? I want to know those things before I set up a for rent website or buy a website that's going to service an area. I want to know who are the end customers, because if they're broke, then people can't afford to pay you a decent rent. So my rents range from, on the low end, $100 a month. On the high end, a little over $2,000 a month. But the $2,000 a month is for people that do like plastic surgery, very specialized plastic surgery, and cosmetic dentists. They don't mind paying that much. Even a regular dentist, they bring a patient in, they're going to, if they're smart, look at the person and tell them, they're going to look for problems, like maybe they need root canals or they need implants or they need some type of procedure. And they're not, being shifty. They're not being shifty, because if a person has certain dental problems, maybe that dental problem is allowing bacteria from the mouth to get into the bloodstream, which then causes systemic problems, and they can have heart problems that are directly related to a cavity in their mouth, because that cavity let bacteria into the bloodstream that then cause inflammation and aches and pains all over the body and all kinds of problems with organs. So, a smart dentist isn't just looking at your teeth and cleaning your teeth. He's looking at, what else does this person need? And those people that know how to do those upsells, they make a lot more per client than somebody who just does a teeth cleaning twice a year. And they also refer a lot of business to other dentists who refer business to them. So they don't just do all the work themselves. They refer it to specialists. Let's see, where am I? I should be at the end of my presentation. So we've got this list of potential renters that we put together. Some people are saying, what do I charge them? It depends on the niche. If you haven't talked to me about it, certainly reach out to me. It's best to set up an appointment and we can talk. I block my time in half-hour increments for Zoom chats, and that way you can ask whatever question you have on your mind. The link to my calendar is in the Facebook group, and it will be inside the membership area too. And my calendar is configured so that you can set up an appointment not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow. And it's because I don't want you to set up an appointment at 11:50 tonight and it's for tomorrow. I don't like no surprises. So I push the appointments out at least a day. And my calendar is configured so that you can't schedule an appointment within, I think it's 15 minutes of someone else's appointment ending. And that's because when they could run long, but if they don't run long, I want time to grab a glass of water or run to the restroom or whatever. I want a slight break between calls. And so that's the way my calendar is set up. And then there's things that are just a regular part of my schedule that are not available either. So, my calendar is open to you guys. So if you have questions that need individual answers, feel free to schedule a time on my calendar. If it's something that the group could benefit from, then feel free to post it in the Facebook group, the private group. And, I'll answer it there. With that, next week, which is session 6, I plan on continuing to look at how you contact customers. And that was where I really wanted to get into the automated payment. But we just discussed that. I could actually show you step by step how to do it, but I don't think that's necessary. But I'll review it anyway. Look at potential back-end products and services. There are a lot of things you could offer your customers who rent websites from you that could, increase your bottom line. Once you've landed somebody as a customer, you've already taken care of the customer acquisition costs. So anything else that you manage to sell that customer is mostly profit. You don't have any cost of acquisition anymore. So most of the money in a lot of businesses is in the back end sales. The other things you sell after that first sale. Now it's different when it's recurring, because once you brought them on as a rentor, as long as you don't do something to totally irritate them, they're going to stick with you. There's no reason for them not to, especially knowing that if they don't continue to rent the website from you, you're going to turn around and offer it to a competitor. And if the website's ranked high enough, that you won't have any trouble finding a renter. So that's what we're going to cover next week. Between now and then, feel free to reach out to me. Right now, this is my #1 project. All I do actually work on right now is this project and my own rank and rent websites. That's all I've worked on for the past 2 weeks, really. I've promoted a couple of affiliate products, but I'm not as into that. And I'm also going to do take part in some virtual summits. But between now and the end of the month, when I launch recordings as a formal product, doing a formal product launch, you guys can reach out to me as often as you want to, bearing in mind that I do need to sleep at least half an hour a day, half an hour once every 24 hours, but I'm available for you is what I'm saying. Any more questions, though? Kathy asked, do we need to rank the site before we contact potential renters? Actually, if the site is a perfect match for that business, like maybe has the business's name in it or whatever, you don't really have to rank the site first, but it's not that difficult to rank the site. You build the site, you submit it to a few places where it's going to get noticed by Google, such as YouTube, some social media places, and Google instantly spiders it and figures out where that site should rank for certain keywords. And so ranking a site, I can rank a site on using YouTube in 30 minutes. Now, where it settles in the rankings, it's going to bounce around a little, but I can rank a site inside of 30 minutes using just YouTube. So that's not that hard. Let's see. I mentioned I redirect domains direct to the customer's website.
how do I'll put together something explaining how you can
point a domain name someplace else and not lose your
search engine ranking for that domain name. I'll cover that. I'll do a video or something. To rank a site from YouTube, sometimes I'll put together 2 PowerPoint slides, talk for a minute on a topic, and in the description, I upload that recorded video, which is YouTube All at Once videos, to YouTube, linking back to a target site. And in the description and in the title and in the tags, I use my keywords. YouTube is a search engine, so YouTube ranks that video for those keywords, and Google spiders it and looks at it and says, wow, this YouTube was whom we own. They think the site's important and on this topic, so we're going to look at it and rank it there too. So you don't have to rank a site first in order to reach out to potential renters. Wydell asked if I build sites where I sell leads to insurance companies, etc. Yeah, there are companies that run what they call cost per action or cost per lead programs, where they pay you just to get somebody to go over and fill out a form that says they're going to buy a car in a year, buy a house, need a loan, buy insurance, whatever. You get somebody to fill out the form, and the company will pay you, $10, $20, $50 for that lead. I don't get into I don't teach that per se, but that's just a form of affiliate marketing. There's a lot of those are run by networks where you have to be approved by the network. So you sometimes need to know people in order to get approved by the network, but they're out there. And for somebody to go and fill out a form that says, I plan on buying a house in the $300,000 range, that's worth a lot to a mortgage lender. And so they'll pay you a lot to get somebody to go over and give that information, and they follow up with that person. And, and they monitor the quality of the leads you send them over time, and may or may not invite you to leave their referral program. But those are out there. I haven't done a lot of that because you can only specialize in so many things, and I've learned, to limit what all I try to specialize in so that I don't run myself too much into the ground. So I'm going to say, if you have any questions that I haven't answered, feel free to contact me privately. I'm not seeing any new comments, so I'm going to go ahead and end tonight's call. If I didn't answer anything that you won't answered, just send me an email, willie@williecrawford.org, or send me a note via Facebook Messenger, and I will get back to you as soon as practical. Thanks, and I will see you guys next week at 8 o'clock Eastern, same spot.